and welcome to the UK and Ireland Minnesota Vikings Fan Club podcast. I am your host and fan club co-president, Big Deal Rich, and I am joined this evening in glorious Technicolor, which is good for some people, bad for others. Viewers, listeners, I will let you work out who good and who bad it is for. We are joined by Vice President and all-round nice guy, Mr. John McDonald, show producer and co-president, Mr. Reece Field, Darren from our purchasing and what have we promoted you to these days, Daz?
Chief advisor now, mate.
Chief advisor as well, chief advisor to us squabbling children, and content, top content guy, and also all-round nice guy, Tom Perry Jones. Say hello, gentlemen.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello, gentlemen. Indeed, it is draft week. Everyone's very excited. We're all full up to our eyebrows on chocolate Easter eggs, having just finished Easter. And we are now looking forward to the most important thing this week, which is the draft. So we are going to do a quick rundown of round one. Have a look at what the Vikings could be left with, or maybe what we take at pick 24, if we even pick at pick 24. I'll have a quick discussion on that. Me and Reece had something very exciting last week, which was the Fan Club President's Summit. First ever Fan Club President's Summit. We'll take you through what was discussed on there. We got to have a Teams chat with Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, which was pretty exciting. And we've had a couple of questions in from our fans, and I'm sure some other stuff will come up, Vikings, because we are getting into the exciting bit of the year, exciting bit of the season. Football is nearly back. It's nearly back. You can taste it. So, mock draft. Let's get into it. Are you going to do a cut there, Daz?
I don't know if I am. This might just be all of it.
We might have to go through it. So let's get into it.
This is the joy of a video now. We're just going to have to, people are going to see how unprofessional we really are. But yeah, go on then, Reece. Let's make a start on this mock draft.
Brilliant. I was hoping to get a drink, but no, there's no time for that on video. Yes, so we're going to run through the first round. We're going to take it in turns picking up until the Vikings pick, and then we're all going to say what we think we should do with that pick. Will we take a player? Will we trade back? Are we focusing on position? We have no idea because we're literally doing this mock draft live now, and it will be John with the first overall pick, which is the Tennessee Titans.
And now you're on mute.
And of course, I'm going to go Cameron Ward. It's going to be
Cameron Ward
quite happily. Everyone knows it. It's best QB available. They can't not take a QB really. No matter what some people think, they just can't not take a QB, and he's the best available.
Was that a sly dig at me, John? Because I said they might not take a quarterback.
They're just not going to not take a QB. You can't not take a QB if you need a QB with the first overall pick.
They have got the mayonnaise drinking, banana eating Will Levis. He's not. Is he that bad?
Yes.
He is.
There's a reason they're the first overall.
If he wasn't
pick.
that bad, there wouldn't be so much talk about them needing a quarterback.
Okay.
Or being the number one pick.
Okay, fair enough. I'll concede on that.
Anyway, I'm the second pick, and I've got the Cleveland Browns, which is convenient because they are a team that need a lot. They need help on offense and defense, which means it's going to have to be Travis Hunter, who could play on both sides of the ball.
Where is he going to play, though? If they picked him, is he going to play cornerback? Is he going to play wide receiver? What do we think?
He said in meetings he's had with some teams that they have promised him he'll be able to play both. But, whether or not he can at the NFL level, I don't remember the last NFL Iron Man.
I think he will play both, but I think he'll predominantly play cornerback and then be a gadget player as a wide receiver. Is how I see that playing out.
I mean, to be fair, Cleveland Brown have got so much money tied up in a duff quarterback that they probably need one wages to cover two positions these days. So that would not be a bad pick at all for the Cleveland Browns. I've got pick 3. So I've got who are the New York Giants going to pick? I think they've picked up a couple of quarterbacks, haven't they, in free agency? So their quarterback need in a pretty poor quarterback draft is less necessary. And it just so happens that they've been kicking themselves in the ass for letting go of one of the best running backs in the history of the game to pay one of the worst quarterbacks in the history of the game. But Ashton Genty is available at pick 3. I don't think there's another question about who they would go for. I think they've got an elite wide receiver in Neighbours if someone can pass him the ball, but they can't pass him the ball all the time. So Ashton Genty, I think they're going to snap him up at 3.
Okay.
I was always wondering, I know we were talking earlier about Abdul Carter being a generational talent, but yeah, they need a running back in New York, I guess. 3, some might say is high for a running back, but
I'd
don't
go
like
Carter. I'd go Carter if I was New York at this point.
Yeah, I think I'm the same, but
I think
do
they've
get the
got.
pick.
I think they've got enough to trade up later on. That's, and I think that this is probably the edge is probably the deepest position in this draft. So I don't think that there's a need to take that. Whereas Genty is, everyone's saying he's the best player in the draft, and I think they need him in New York. So I've gone Genty.
Which brings us to our 4th pick, which is the New England Patriots. Tom, you're on the clock for this one.
Well, if you're not going to take Abdul Carter at 3, I think he almost has to be taken at 4. Like the Patriots have a need at the defensive line. Obviously, he's more of an edge than an interior lineman, but he's obviously one of the most talented players in this draft class. And New England would be stupid not to take him.
Yeah,
So that leaves me at 5, does it, with Jacksonville?
You at 5 with Jacksonville.
So I think, given who's on the board, I think they're probably going to take Mason Graham, I think, the defensive lineman.
A Michigan boy.
Yeah.
Which that brings us round to the Las Vegas Raiders. John, a statement that you and I have watched a lot of action in this weekend.
Yes, we have enjoyed a lot of actions this weekend in that stadium, but I think, I don't know, this one's with everyone that's been taken so far, maybe shore up the O-line there with Mr. Banks.
Kelvin, you mean?
Kelvin Banks out of Texas.
Yeah.
Not Mr. Banks from Mary Poppins.
Maybe give that young QB you've got there a bit of protection. Ooh. Crazy idea.
Kelvin Banks it is. Which now brings us to my pick, which is the New York Jets. Of course, you've got Will Campbell still on the board, Armand Membu as well, both offensive tackles out of LSU and Missouri, respectively. I am going to say they're going to invest in the O-line as well, so I'm going to take Will Campbell to the New York Giants.
Okay.
Not a bad pick, not bad. And does that put me up next with Carolina Panthers? Is that right?
Carolina Panthers, yeah.
I'll team Carolina Panthers because they sort of started to come good to the back end of last season, but really they've got holes everywhere and could potentially take anyone. I don't know. I don't think we haven't gone for a wide receiver yet, and whilst our old boy.
Well, unless you count the Iron Man.
Well, yeah, but we haven't gone for a proper wide receiver. I don't think the other thing as well is the wide receiver class this year. I don't think is very deep. I think there's probably 2 that are projected to go in top 2. The one I'm going to go with is Matthew Golden. I think that if Carolina have got any hopes of being better this year, they need to get better in that wide receiver position. So I'm going to go with Golden.
Which I guess brings it to me and the New Orleans Saints pick at number 9. This might be the first big reach of the 2025 draft. The New Orleans Saints have a big need at quarterback. Derek Carr is probably their current QB1. and I'm going to say they need to improve on him. And I think they will go with the second best quarterback, at least the consensus second best quarterback in this draft class, and that is Shedeur Sanders. I think it's the consensus pick at that position for the New Orleans Saints. What do you guys think?
I think, especially with the talk that Derek Carr might actually even miss the season now, I feel like you have to start investing somewhere else at quarterback if you're the Saints. You can't ride for a guy who's missed how many games injured now? You've got to look towards the future.
Yeah, I think that's the right pick at that position, given that he's still on the board. I do have a feeling, I know we haven't spoken about it, but I have a feeling that with New York, I think New York might trade back and try to pick up Shedeur slightly later and just get ahead. But given how that's fallen, Shedeur seems to be the sensible choice. So that leaves me then with the Bears. So who's on the board? Mimbu's on the board as offensive tackle, but they've beefed up their offensive line quite a lot in free agency. So although he's probably the best player on the board, I don't think that's where they're going to go. I think they're probably going to go defensive side with edge. So I will go and say that they pick Jalen Walker from Georgia.
Yeah. Well, that's I would say probably the best edge that's in the class that's not been picked already, which brings us.
Come off the board yet? I'm quite like him.
Who's that,
Mikael
sorry?
Williams. Yeah, Mikael. Well,
Williams.
John, you say that you are the next pick with the San Francisco 49ers. They have a bit of a need there.
Yeah. Well, if Williams is gonna go there, I had Walker going to San Francisco, but if Williams is still available, I think that they'll run that up there.
So Mikael Williams to the San Francisco 49ers.
So that means Reece, you're next, right?
Yep, and I get the Dallas
and you get
Cowboys.
Dallas. You get Dallas roundabout. Who knows what you pick here?
Oh goodness. Is there a kicker? Because with Dallas, we never know. I don't know how I feel about Dallas. But I know how I feel about Dallas personally. If I'm gonna go, I think they're gonna have to go offense. I don't think we'll go on the offensive line though. I feel they need a skill position player. I'm gonna go with McMillan out of Arizona.
Don't cheat. What's his first name?
Teteroria? Roa. Mr. T. McMillan.
It's the only reason I didn't go wide receiver early. I didn't know how to pronounce it.
That is proper thrown under a bus there, mate. Thanks, Daz. That was very harsh indeed.
Oh, that was brutal. I can't believe it. Yeah, it is you now, Rich. So I don't know where you want to go here.
Miami is that what I've got next?
Yep, Miami at 13.
Miami. Defensive tackle, I'm going. I don't think it's a deep class. No one's taken anyone yet from the defensive tackle room. I'm going Mason Graham out of Michigan. I think Miami needs some help.
You've already picked him at Jacksonville.
Are they?
Yeah.
You
can't pick the same player twice.
I didn't scrub him off my notes.
But, sorry, I think Daz picked him at Jacksonville.
Sorry.
Okay. Then I'm going to go with the next DT on my list out of Oregon, which is Harmon. Derek Harmon out of Oregon. Defensive tackle. That's what I'm picking.
I'm now just scrolling through. Yep, he is still available. I want to make sure he didn't take someone else who had been drafted. Wow. Well, we are whizzing through the first round here so fast that I can't even type it in our little ticker here to make sure we don't pick the same player twice, which is probably why that happened. So, Tom, it is, of course, your pick next.
Yes.
I mean, the Indianapolis Colts.
Well, yeah, they have a few needs. and they actually have a few needs at positions that, I mean, I'm look, I have no idea about college players, so I'm just picking the best players out of Daniel Jeremiah's top 150 prospects. But off that list, there are a few players in the top 10 who haven't been picked yet who would fill needs for the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, do I fill a need at the edge? Because no one's picked up Jalen Walker yet, have they?
Yes.
Yeah, I think Jalen Walker's gone.
Darren picked him up.
Yeah,
earlier.
Jalen
That was
Walker
who
went
I
to
picked.
Chicago, but yeah, I mean,
Oh,
there's
my bad. Well, in that
need-
case, I'm going Tyler Warren, tight end out of Penn State.
Yeah, I think that's the right choice.
which brings us to you, Daz, isn't it?
Yeah, so who we got now? Atlanta, isn't it? Next after Indy. Oof.
It is indeed.
What are they going to do? I think they need OT. They need cornerback. I think they go cornerback, and I think they go Jahdae Barron from Texas.
Yeah, I
They
think
could-
that's a pretty solid decision there.
Yeah,
It was going to be him or Will Johnson, really, wasn't it?
yeah. So, but yeah, I'll go with that.
I've kept up this time. Scratched it on my list. Don't worry.
I'm struggling to
Right.
keep up. We need to put these in the chat. Okay, good.
They are flying in
They're
now
the
as fast
chat.
as I can. Yeah,
I'm running them as I keep looking down, as you can see. I'm just running it on my phone, so I'm just marking it off. See who's left.
And we say we're a not professional outfit. We're back at John, Arizona.
This is a hard one. I think I'm going to go defensive line for Arizona and take Grant.
Kenneth Grant
seems-
out of
Kenneth
Michigan.
Grant, yeah.
We're not
That
going to.
seems to be the
Yes.
that
You get a
position they
nice.
need
Slightly
to
easier
secure-
name to say
secure
than the
up there.
previous one.
Oh, don't know why it says Jaberth Grant. I don't know who Jaberth Grant is. I wrote that in there in the chat.
Brand.
I think it was Kenneth. I'm just going to write Kenny. Yeah, K Grant. So Cincinnati is my pick. Well, I mean, if I didn't pick a defensive player, I think that Joe Burrow might come to my house and smack me around the head with some of his reclaimed jewelry. So I'm going to go with Shamar Stewart out of Texas A&M, the edge rusher.
I've got
Yeah,
James
makes
Pierce
sense.
on my board being higher than that guy.
I like Pierce, but I feel he's just a bit of a combine freak.
Okay. Fair enough.
Which, I mean, if you saw his comparison to Patrick Mahomes is 40, you'd understand what I'm talking about. Yeah, for sure.
Fair enough. Does that pick me next with Seattle?
Correct. Yep.
Amazingly enough, no one's picked an offensive tackle yet. So I'm going to go, and I almost didn't go for this because I am going to struggle to pronounce his name. Armand Membu.
I'd go Membu, but
Membu.
Membau.
Yeah, I think I've absolutely butchered that name, but I think that's what they need. He's the best player at offensive tackle in the draft, so I'm taking him off the board.
Okie dokie.
So Armand Membu is off the board to Seattle.
Okay. I think that leaves the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for me then.
Tampa Bay needs a corner and defensive
Number 19.
back. Yeah, all
Yeah,
those.
well, I'm going cornerback then. I'm going Jahdae Barron.
Oh, Jahdae Barron's the one that's gone.
Yeah, I
Oh,
took Barron. Sorry.
When did you bloody take him?
Barron
You're
went
so
to Atlanta.
professional. Oh yeah, yes, you did take him 5 picks ago. I'm definitely paying attention to a subject that I have no idea about whatsoever. Okay, so what do they need? Linebacker, cornerback, edge, safety, offensive line. Because I was going to go Armand Membu if he was still on the board. Oh gosh, who have we not got?
Will Johnson.
Has
Malachi
anyone
Starks.
taken? Has anyone taken Jihad Campbell
No, he's still available.
He's
the
still there, the
linebacker.
linebacker.
In that case, I will make him the second Campbell to come off the board in this year's draft. And Jihad Campbell will be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer.
Okay. So next, I've got the Denver Broncos. I think they need a skill position here. I think they're going to take Hampton, the running back.
First name, Darren?
It's Omaron. Or Marin. It's Amaron, isn't it?
Amarian?
Amarian Hampton. So,
Good player.
Yeah.
Good player. I had him down.
Yeah, he's
If
good.
he was going to drop, and no one offered us decent at 24, I'd take him every day of the week. I don't think he's that much worse than Genty. Yeah.
No,
really
I think you took Genty too high. But I understood why you took him at that point for was it Giants you took him for? I think.
Yeah.
I do think Giants will sneak back into the first round again as well. So I think they'll pick up one of the really good edge players in the draft. But Amari, I would have had him at the Vikings every day. Good player.
Which brings us back to John at Pittsburgh.
John, live from Pittsburgh.
John live from Pittsburgh. You know what? I think they're gonna. Well, they haven't got a QB at the moment, but we all know who's going there, don't they? Don't we?
Yeah. And is he going to really look after?
I think they're going to give him a little bit of talent here, and I'm surprised this player's fallen this far. I'm going to go Loveland.
Colson Loveland, tight end out of Michigan.
Tight end.
I know wide receiver is popular, but I think the tight end class is the top of the tight end class is better than the top of the wide receiver class in this year's draft.
Is it Peter Fryermuth who they've got at Pittsburgh at the moment at tight end?
Yeah, I think so.
Pat Fryermuth.
Yeah.
He's always one of those players I pick in a best ball league because he's going to get touches, but he's probably never going to have a game that's going to put him in the Kelsey Hawkinson range. I like Fryermuth, but yeah, if you moved on from him, I wouldn't be shocked. It brings me to the Chargers. Defensive back, I feel, is where they have to go. Will Johnson out of Michigan is still on the board. Malachi Starks is my favorite defensive back in the draft. As much as I'd like the Vikings to take him, I just feel like he's going to end up, if he's still on the board, going to the Chargers. So I'm going to say Malachi Starks to the Chargers.
All Vikings fans are screaming right now.
I know, but I think we all know that if he's still there, we're lucky.
Yeah.
There's no way he's going to be there. No, same as Grant. We all have our, but what if they drop that far, these guys aren't going to be there. The running back that I wanted is not going to be there. The safety that you want is not going to be there. Grant is not going to be there. And Green Bay have got a bit of a mess at cornerback at the moment, and I have got Green Bay on my board. So I'm going to take Will Johnson. I was happy that you didn't just select him then, Reece. Will Johnson out of Michigan. I think he plugs a hole there for those guys. Will Johnson's off the board.
Which, of course, brings us to the best team in the NFL. Your Minnesota Vikings. Yeah. That team we all love to cheer for every week, and I think probably do no good for our hearts in the long or short run of it. Tom,
it's my pick now, right?
It would be your pick. I know we're all going.
It is my pick.
We say what we would do here, but Tom, as it would have been you, what would you have done if the draft has fallen this way and you are Kwesi Adofo-Mensah in this situation?
Trade back, innit?
Trade back. Why are you trading back?
Well, we only have 4 draft picks and going into or 4 or 5. going into
4, it is.
yeah,
4,
it is 4. Going into Thursday, Friday, Saturday, yeah, we only have 4, and I think it behooves us to use those picks wisely and get more value out of them. However, if I'm forced to pick a player at this position, I think I'm going to go safety, and I'm going to pick Nick Emanwari,
Darren?
who is
absolutely
like
falling in love
widely
with this guy.
believed to be better than Malachi Starks, at least in a lot of people's big boards. Maybe not exactly the kind of safety we need, but if he's rated higher than Malachi Starks, I'm taking Emanwari every day if he's available at 24.
Darren, what would you do if you were Kwesi in this situation?
So, not wishing to sound like I'm just repeating what Tom just said, but I've always felt that trading back was really our best option at 24. We don't, because we've done so well in the off season with the free agency, we've filled pretty much all the gaps that we need to fill. So there's no real glaring need that we have to. So at 24, we're probably picking best player available. And I don't think I think we can build up by trading back. I think we can get back into the top end of the second round by trading back potentially. So I think it just letting someone jump up from the second round and then just fill out maybe with maybe 1 or 2 extra picks from that trade, I think makes sense. I also, if we were forced to pick here based on how this board has gone, I'd pick the same player as Tom as well, because I think, again, I've had him as the top safety on the board for a couple of weeks now. So yeah, that would be where I would pick. But if I couldn't pick him because I've got to pick someone else, then I think everyone knows that I love an interior line. So I think that might be another way with Gray Zabel as an option. But yeah, I would trade back.
John, I know you've got a bit of a love affair going on with Nick Emanwari, haven't you?
Yeah, Nick Emanwari. He just screams. He just looks so much like a young Harrison Smith. The way he plays, and the way he comes off. I mean, his first ever snap in college was a pick. That sums up how good the guy is. Okay, he is absolutely top drawer, elite, and if we were there, I would run the pick up for him. You might be able to trade back a few places and get him, but what's a few extra picks when you're going to pick a Hall of Famer?
Ooh.
That's a big claim. I mean, I'm in John's position here. I feel I would be trading back if both safeties had gone from the first round. If they're both gone, then I'm absolutely trading back. But if he's there, I'm taking him. I'm taking him. I don't know if Hall of Fame is a big thing to say when a player's not played a snap in the NFL. I'm sure drafting him, he'd be better than the last first round safety Kwesi drafted, even though that safety has already got a ring. If I was gonna try and pick someone different, I think Gray Zabel again. I think if you closed your eyes and had him and Darasaur on that left hand of the line, just like a mountain of men pushing linebackers and defensive linemen and anyone else who's unfortunate enough to get in their way, clearing a lot of space for running backs. But yeah, without a shadow of doubt, if the safeties are there, take the safeties, whether that's Starks or Emanwari. I'm happy with either. Rich?
I think we need to do a bit of scene setting, because I don't think anyone in the top 23 is vastly different. The order might be a bit different, but in terms of the players left by the time you get to pick 24, looking at all the mock drafts from all the professionals that I've ever looked at, I don't think we are that far out in terms of players that are still available at 24. I think this draft is going to be pretty prescriptive. Like you say, the Vikings have got 4 picks. We've got 24, 97, 139, and 187. So nothing really at the top end of the draft board after round 1. Our next pick doesn't come till round 3. We've done loads of good work in free agency. So there's nothing that is screaming we need a player in this position. Maybe cornerback, maybe. But I think at the moment we're saying just take the next best player available. The problem is at 24, I don't think you get someone at 24 that isn't a different player in a different position who is equally as good and makes everyone happy all the way to the end of round 2. I think by now everyone is pretty much the same impact on an NFL team all the way to the end of round 2. So I'd love to trade back. I think that is the sensible decision. Kwesi loves to trade back. He loves to mess around with our picks in the draft. The problem is who's going to trade with us? There's, like I've said, you could pick anywhere now from 24 all the way to the end of round 2, and I don't think you get a vastly different quality of player. So unless you really, really want someone on your team, I don't think someone's going to be picking up the phone and going, I need pick 24, and this is what you can have for it. 49ers are a bit of a mess at the moment because they're going to have to decide whether they're going to pay their quarterback, and then therefore they're going to need some rookies to fill some gaps. And if you look, they've got 11 picks in this draft. They've got, according to my notes, they've got 2 in round 3, 2 in round 2, and 2 in round 4, I think, maybe 2 in round 5. So if they wanted to trade up, do they say, here you go, have yourself a round 2 and a round 4 for your first round pick? And do we go, yeah, that's good enough value to take it? Probably not. We'd probably want at least a 2 and a 3 because they've got 2 round 3s. They might be willing to trade that, but I don't see it. I don't see them willing to give up that capital for pick 24 in this year's draft. I think when you look on the board, there's probably 3 players that you would take. Zabel, I think, is the obvious one. If we said at the end of last season, our interior offensive line needs a complete revamp. And why would you stop now? We've got a new centre. We've got a new right guard. Let's take a new left guard. To pair with our 2 almost elite tackles and make sure that we protect our prize new quarterback going into next season. But then I look at the board as well, and Trayvon Henderson's still on the board. I was reading an interview today that Jones has been advised at the age of 30 to start taking ice baths and all sorts of stuff to prolong his career. Do you really see him playing for the Vikings outside of the next year? I don't think so. He was so banged up last year. I love the guy, but I just can't see his longevity in the NFL or with the Vikings. And you've got Trayvon Henderson on the board and pick 24. It's very tempting. That's, again, I would have gone with Amari Hampton, but he's gone, and I don't think he will last until 24. So lots of options. I couldn't live with myself, I don't think, if I took a safety in round 1. That just doesn't feel like something that I would ever want to do.
Well, we did that with Harrison Smith, and he turned out to be a potential Hall of Famer.
No, I get that, but
we didn't do that. Was it
big splashy players?
Lewis Cine was
Lewis
also a
Cine.
safety, to be fair.
Yeah, we did that with
Yeah.
Lewis Cine. But who was it we passed on when the Ravens took him? When we traded back, was it Kai Hamilton or something?
Hamilton,
Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah,
Kyle
Kyle
Hamilton,
Hamilton. I mean, I've been kicking ourselves for that one a little bit, to be honest. So
I mean,
you say that.
if Cine's leg hadn't exploded in London, he could have turned into a good player, and we'll never know that. But I would want a really flashy, splashy skill position. Or
We've spoken about Zabel as a potential interior lineman. What about Tyler Booker?
I like him, and I think he's going to be available because he didn't have a great combine, and he's been dropping ever since. But why is the combine such a big influence? Before the combine, he was going top 10 normally in most people's mock drafts. People have been looking at his tape being like, yes. couple of bad days and apparently no.
Well,
What-
it
so
depends,
was it-
doesn't
was
it?
it-
Because it's. I don't necessarily. Sorry, Tom. I don't necessarily think it's just because. I don't know the details, but in terms of after the combine players dropping, it's not just because of how they performed in their underpants. You know, they're
It's
having all the
interviews and things.
meetings.
Yeah.
They're so they're having their medicals. So anything in there could have potentially thrown something up that's whether it be personality or a niggling injury that's making him. It could be any of those, not just that he didn't necessarily perform. So we don't know, but you're right that he has dropped off. But there's usually a reason.
I think.
Oh,
Go
sorry.
on, Reece.
And I think also, whilst of course we've had the combine, I think the Senior Bowl, I think it was Gray Zabel in the Senior Bowl, just looked immense. And I feel like if you're going to have a pick of the two, it is Zabel who you're taking. And I know Rich, you were saying, who's trading up for us. I think the only team that's going to trade up with us is going to be the team that wants their pick of the best interior offensive lineman in the draft. And if that team's in the right place, that's who your trade partner is. But who is going to trade up for a offensive lineman in the first round? An interior offensive lineman, because they do usually end up being day 2 picks these days.
And whilst we're talking about trading up, I think we've all mentioned it. We've all mentioned, okay, let's trade back. Let's get more picks. We need, it'd be good to get more players in the building. But what's your ceiling? If someone comes and says, "I'll give you a round 2 and a round 3," I think we'd probably say yes to that. But if someone says, "I'll give you a round 2 and a round 4," do you start thinking, "No, I'll just take my pick in round 1, thank you." What's your ceiling?
Well, it depends where they are in the draft.
Depends on where they are. It depends on where they are in round 4.
If
they're
at the top of the draft, say Cleveland does that, that's moving down to 33 and taking a 4th. I'd take that. Moving down under 10 places.
It depends, doesn't it? If it's someone like Philadelphia offering you a second round pick, you're not going to be as tempted. But if it's one of those needier teams that wants to trade up, a Cleveland, a New England, a Jacksonville, then absolutely. Why not? Take that second round pick in the 4th, because you're not moving back far. It's just about the value of the pick and how it's weighted. I think you made a good point. I think anywhere from sort of 20 to 50 in terms of picks, like overall pick in the draft, I don't think there's really any difference in the quality of the player. So if you're still landing somewhere within that top 40 when trading back into the second, absolutely it's worth considering a 4th round pick in addition to a second. But if it is someone later in the second, then maybe you're looking at the 3rd. I just don't like the draft class too much. I would honestly prefer to pick the best player available if it suits our needs. Shall we move on to the last few picks, Rich? It's you at Houston.
So just to clarify then, so TPJ, we're sticking in Nick as the pick in this draft.
Yeah, Nick is our pick.
Yeah.
He is a man. He is a man that we are picking. Yeah.
So that means that I'm on the board then, with Houston.
Oh yeah, it's you. Yes, Houston.
Mm-hmm. Sorry then. I mentioned it earlier. We didn't take him at 24, so I'm going to take. They need an interior offensive, so I'm going to take Zabel at this position and get him off the board.
It is. John, back to you with the Los Angeles Rams. Yep, that team.
Bear with me. I've lost my big board here. Sorry, bear with me, guys.
I didn't think we were going past the Vikings. I thought we were stopping.
Yeah, nor did I.
We got to complete the round. We got to
finish the round. I mean, what are you doing? Offensive tackle, wide receiver. That's probably the positions they're going. So you've got Josh Simmons, the offensive tackle, Connolly Jr. out of Oregon, offensive tackle, Emeka Akbuka, the wide receiver out of Ohio, Luther Burden. Yeah, there's a few. That's probably the position.
I think I'm going to go Burden. Yeah.
Luther Burden. Which brings it to me with the freezing computer. I'm probably still moving.
And the
here, but-
Baltimore Ravens. At
The
number
Baltimore
27.
Ravens. Oh, Mike Green's still there, so it's gonna be Mike Green.
Yeah.
Damn, you've stolen
Easy
the
pick.
pick I was going to go for.
Easy
with the
pick.
Commanders.
Rich with Detroit.
Yeah, I think probably some help on defense. They were pretty banged up last year. I think they were pretty much invited players in the crowd to come and play on their defense last year. No one's really taken a linebacker. I think it's Jalen Walker still on the board out of Georgia.
I thought Jalen Walker had gone.
I might not have scrubbed
I
him
thought
off.
it had gone twice.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Did Jalen Walker not go to?
New York. Or
I don't
up
think
there.
so.
It was well up
Jalen
there,
Walker went to
wasn't
Chicago. It was Darren's pick, I
Chicago,
think.
Oh, there he is.
Jalen
Yes, I
Walker.
see him.
Yeah.
now.
I was going to say.
Okay.
Number 10.
James Pierce, edge out of Tennessee. Is he
Pierce.
still there?
Yeah, he's still there.
Yeah, he's still there. Yeah.
That's who I'm going with then. I think give him some help. I don't want to give him any help, but I think that's what their position in need is.
Okay. I guess that's me then picking for the Commanders at 29. I think they need an edge rusher quite desperately as well. I don't think anyone's taken Michael Williams yet, have they?
I think he has.
I think
Gone.
he has.
Oh,
been
for
scrubbed
goodness
off my
sake. Oh,
board.
yeah, to San Francisco. Oh, balls.
Yeah.
This bloody thing. What else do they
Well
need?
practiced,
They need
dear
they need
Christ.
edge.
I
They
mean,
need
edge is the
cornerback.
position.
Yeah.
Edge is
their
the
edge.
position.
I mean, there's a. I'm gonna send it to the chat because I can't even attempt to
Is
pronounce.
it Donovan Ezeruaku?
Yes,
That's
it
the
is.
kiddie.
He's nailed that. Tom, I'm guessing you're picking him.
I'll take Donovan Ezeruaku.
You're showing off now.
Donovan Ezeruaku.
Yes.
Yeah, Donovan.
Yeah, he's an edge out of Boston College. He is apparently quite good.
Buffalo, Darren.
Buffalo, Darren. No, I think it's Buffalo Bills, but
I've been
I
more
thought it was
intimidated
Buffalo
by Buffalo
Soldier.
Darren's.
Buffalo Soldier, Buffalo Stance for those that are old enough. Cracking song. Right, so Buffalo. Rich, what do Buffalo need? Defensive line, wide receiver?
Buffalo.
Oh, they need a wide receiver, don't they?
They do need a wide receiver, but it's such a poor class. I only had two wide receivers going in the top in the first round in this.
I think I'm going to go Siobhan Revel Jr. at cornerback. I know there are others that might be higher on people's boards, but I do like him. So
I had
yeah,
Maxwell
that's it.
Harrison as my next cornerback if anyone needed one.
Yeah, I saw him, but I do like that other player. So
Well,
I do like
John, if you want to pick a cornerback for the Kansas City Chiefs, I don't know if they
That's
needed
exactly who I was going to go with, actually. The moment Darren said that, I was like, oh, I'll have Harrison, please. Thank you very much.
Maxwell Harrison it is. Which leaves it to me to wrap up the first round. It's the Eagles. They love to stack defensive talent. So I'm going to go with Walter Nolan. To the
Watermelon.
Walter Nolan.
Watermelon. Oh, you're on mute, Rich.
Can we just give him a watermelon? At the end of the day, it's Philly.
I carried a watermelon.
Walter Nolan. Watermelon.
Right, and that concludes the first round. I
Yeah,
think we nailed it, chaps.
I think we weren't too bad. I mean, there were a couple of reaches in there. But, I mean, I'm looking back now. I mean, Ashton Genty, bit of a reach.
He's going to go top 10, and
I think
Giants
he's
need a wide
more
receiver.
like I think he's going to the Raiders if I had to guess.
Yeah, I'm thinking that sort of 6 to 8 range. Yeah, I don't think we've done too bad. We'll definitely put this up on the website so people can ridicule us when it's hilariously wrong come the first thing of Friday morning. But yeah, gents, shall we let's quickly move up. Quickly move on. There was a question that came in from listener Jake who asked us, Why do some teams, or some countries rather, have more teams representing them? And it's due to the NFL Global Markets Program, which awards the international marketing rights to the NFL clubs to expand their brand awareness. I don't know why they decide to assign it to more teams to some countries. I think they're probably looking at where the money is and thinking, all right, we need to throw some resources there. And it comes from the top level of decision makers. I don't know how much say the teams have in it, but there obviously must be some sort of allocated spaces. There are some markets we know that the Vikings do particularly well over here, but it is actually a decision that is driven by the league.
Well, yeah, they've got the teams. You've got a lot of teams in Germany and a lot of teams in the UK, which is obviously two markets that the NFL has really targeted with international games recently. You've got Canada, which automatically a couple of teams have marketing rights there because they are close enough to the border. Like the Detroit Lions, they automatically have rights in Canada because I think just over the water is Windsor, Ontario, so they can market there. The Seattle Seahawks are similar, and the Vikings have marketing rights in Canada. You've probably seen some marketing stuff from the Vikings with Victor going up to rural northern Canada. For some reason, the Arizona Cardinals also have marketing rights in Canada. God knows why, but maybe from their time when they were the Chicago Cardinals in like the 1920s.
Change the scenery, maybe.
Yeah.
Going from like the hottest place in the US to the coldest place in North America.
Probably where the Cardinals fly up to in the summer. There you go. And then, of course...
You'll also find out that most NFL teams will go to... most East Coast teams are heavily based in Europe, whilst most West Coast teams are looking at expanding into the Asian and Australasian markets. So it's all about what the teams can do, deals the teams can do with the countries themselves. So that's why China only has the Rams, and like one team, was people like Switzerland have got like 6 teams out there.
Yeah, and I think it's also sometimes to do with the players that are on a roster. Like Australia has, obviously you've got the West Coast or the Western teams like the Raiders, the Rams, and the Seahawks, but they also have the Eagles because of their association with Jordan Mailata. So again, that'll be it. And then Argentina has the Dolphins, Brazil has the Dolphins, and that's because Miami has a pretty strong Latin American population.
Absolutely. I guess there's one more thing to talk about, which was Rich and I got to join the other presidents from multiple fan clubs at the inaugural fan club presidents summit. We also had a chance to chat with Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. We had some questions that we were put to him prior to him kindly giving up some of his time. Which is fascinating to hear Kwesi talk. Not just from a footballing perspective, but also sort of a life perspective, and the balance that he's put, and things that we can take to our own professional lives alongside what we do here with the fan club. So I want to give a big thank you to Kwesi and also to the other fan club presidents and co-presidents and vice presidents who presented what they know and shared their knowledge. And there's been a good step forward with the initiative to have all the presidents working together, which has been a plan of John's for a long time. So it's been great to sort of see the early steps of that taking place.
Yeah, well, loads of fun. 1 o'clock in the morning or something daft because the vast majority of the fan clubs out on the chat were from North America, but just the access that we get as a fan club to the Vikings is pretty incredible, really. I'm with you, Reece. The almost very humble Kwesi was on the call. They were asked to put some questions into them beforehand, and I think a fair few of the fan club probably asked the same roundabout questions. I asked a question about culture. I said, we hear rumours from the sidelines in terms of how the culture was previous to Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell, and then how the culture is now. And I think we can all see from interviews and how the players are and how the performances are on the field. I think we can all tell that it's vastly different to how it was before. Kwesi gave an almost unexpected answer to me in terms of how that had been influenced, and he was talking about just everyone being their authentic selves, which I thought was just a really class answer to a question like that. I think if you're trying to be something that you're not, then it's difficult and it takes a lot of energy and it takes a lot of composure to try and be something that you're not. But it just goes to show that they've got some really good people in the building, and everyone being their authentic selves, and everyone working for each other, and everyone really liking working with each other. So yeah, just a really cool insight into the ways of Kwesi's mind, but also, like you say, Reece, just great to meet up with the other fan club presidents and hopefully get working together. So if any of our guys that are listening, watching, etc., are thinking, I might go to, I don't know, an away game next season, and we happen to be in touch with the president of that location, the fan club in that location, we will put you in touch. That is what this was all for, to put fans and fan club presidents and fan club members in touch with each other to create the best experience for Vikings fans, regardless of where you are within the world and regardless of where you're going to watch the game from that week. So keep your eyes peeled, keep your ears open. We'll fill everyone in with any advancements that we make within that area.
Sounds like fun was had by all. Sounds great. Yeah, look forward to seeing how that starts to evolve but like you say, it's really impressive to just start to get that thing underway. So
yeah, really cool, mate. And speaking of things to look forward to, obviously the draft is coming up this week. If you've got a mock draft that you've done, or if you think we are crazy by taking the wrong player at 24, or not doing something, tell us. We are here as a voice for the fan club, here as a voice for our members, here as a voice for Viking fans in the UK and Ireland. It probably brings us to that moment in time where Reece has got this spiel that he tells us all. I forget every week. Reece, come on, tell us, what do we need to know?
On camera, so probably going to balls it up here. But yeah, if you've enjoyed what you've listened to and want to get in touch with the podcast, you can do so by emailing us, which is ukvikespod@gmail.com. That's ukvikespod@gmail.com. You can also get in touch with us on Facebook, UK and Ireland Minnesota Vikings Fan Club. Message us on X or Instagram, which is at UK Vikings Fans. We've got Blue Sky, UK and IRE Vikes Fans. Or fan club, I think it's Vikes Fans. Discord, of course, links always go out to Discord. Cool things to keep an eye out for. Quizzes. Tom and I have been working on some quizzes which you will see across our social medias. And if you are not someone on social media, we are working on getting a newsletter up and going. So keep an eye out, keep an ear out if you want to get in touch or hear about that newsletter. Darren's also been working on a fan feedback survey, which is going to be coming out shortly. We want to know what you want from the club and the best way to drive that. So keep your eyes peeled.
Good stuff. Thank you very much, Reece.
And I assume just to add, we can add. I'm assuming YouTube to this which is where this particular video is probably going to end up. So you listen.
2025, and you've heard it here first. We have finally got a YouTube channel. I mean, we're saying this literally as we haven't got a YouTube channel, but maybe by Thursday when this comes out, we might have one. So
otherwise, this was all for nothing.
So you can look at our pretty faces whilst we spurt Vikings knowledge right at you via YouTube and other video services.
Oh dear.
TPJ, just why you've got to be like that? Why, guys? This is a family show.
You pick those words.
Anyway, John, I think John's got to get to work, so we're gonna have to start properly wrapping this up. Join us on socials. We have got a Facebook chat that's pretty active every time the Vikings do something. So join us on socials when the draft is happening. We're all going to be up. I'm assuming we're all going to be. If we all stay up till pick 24 and trade back, is that going to make people cross? Probably.
If I stay up and we trade back, I'm rioting.
Okay. Well, we've got Quasey's email now, so speak to Reece and he can send him a message.
Is it just Quasey at Vikings.com?
Yeah, just that,
Yeah.
exactly that. Let Quasey.cook at Vikings.com. Anyway, right, we're gonna have to wrap this up. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for watching. I think the last thing to do is say goodbye, gentlemen.
Goodbye, gentlemen.
Goodbye, gentlemen.
Goodbye, gentlemen.
Goodbye, gentlemen.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Cheers. Ta-ra.